Mohnish Pabrai manages over $798 million in his 5-stock portfolio at Pabrai Funds. In this video, we're covering all of his biggest public holdings worth $545 million, plus a bonus holding that isn't officially listed in his U.S. portfolio, but we know he owns it. The first stock on our list, Noble Corp, was a new buy for Pabrai in the first quarter of 2025. Of his U.S. listed assets, it's now 17.5% of his portfolio, worth $41 billion. First Eagle Investment Management also has a holding. In total, it's roughly a 5% position. Noble Corp is a $3.8 billion company that's just $6 above its 52-week low. The business is an offshore drilling contractor for the oil and natural gas industry. Today, the company looks potentially very attractive based on their numbers. They're trading well below their tangible book and way below a gram number or a GF value. Their GF value does have a potential value trap warning, but they're priced well below this. If the company can remain steady, then that GF value looks like it's around $54 a share, more than double today's stock price. Noble Corp also has the added bonus of paying huge dividends. They have an 8.41% dividend yield and paid out more than $2 a share in dividends on a stock price of just $24. Mohnish Pabrai is an Indian-American investor, entrepreneur, and philanthropist best known for his Buffett-style value investing. After selling his tech firm Transtech for $20 million, he funded Pabrai Investment Funds in 1999. Today, that now manages over $800 million. He's also the founder of Dakshana Foundation, helping underprivileged students in India access top education. Pabrai is the author of The Dondo Investor and Mosaic Perspectives on Investing and is widely respected for his focused long-term investment approach. The next stock in Pabrai's portfolio is Alpha Metallurgical Resources, ticker symbol AMR. AMR makes up 22% of his U.S. listed assets, even though he trimmed this by 15% in the last quarter. Overall, it's around 6.5% of his portfolio. Pabrai has bought or sold AMR for each of the last 8 quarters. He was buying for the previous 4 quarters, and then he trimmed most of the shares that he had bought in the last quarter. All in all, he's down on his position with an average buy price of $183 per share. AMR is a $1.6 billion metallurgical coal company. It's priced just $17 above its 52-week low after falling by more than 2/3 from its all-time highs hit back at the beginning of 2024. AMR looks potentially attractive based on their numbers. They're way below their current earnings power and they're priced just around their tangible book. They're also hugely under their projected free cash flows. This comes from a recent imbalance in supply and demand in the metallurgical coal space, and some really high pricing relative to history.
And here we are, heavily loaded on coal because of that tweet.
While he's been trimming his position, Pabrai's not out of it yet. Right now, AMR has a GF value of $167 per share, which is up 26% from its current stock price. Stock number 3 in Pabrai's portfolio is Valaris PLC, ticker symbol VAL. This is a new buy from Pabrai, making up 24% of his U.S. listed assets. Overall, it's around a 7% position for him, and it's also a 5% position from Third Avenue Management, who added to it in the last quarter. Interestingly, there was also a recent open market insider buy by their CEO for $254,000 just in March of 2025. Valaris has a $2.7 billion market cap, and it's up just $10 from their 52-week low. Valaris is another offshore contract oil and gas drilling company. It looks like it has a cheap valuation with being priced just above their tangible book and below their gram number. They're also way below their GF value of nearly $100 a share. With a stock price of only $37 a share, that's nearly a triple from today's levels. Stock number 2 in Pabrai's portfolio and the top stock that shows in his U.S. listed assets is Warrior Met Coal. This is 37% of his U.S. portfolio and 11% of his portfolio overall. Third Avenue Management also has a 6% holding here. So there's overlap with Pabrai on 2 of his largest positions. Pabrai has been buying Warrior Met Coal 4 quarters in a row, and he's bought it in 5 of the last 6 quarters. Today, though, he's still down on his position with an average buy price of just under $60 a share. Warrior Met Coal, as the name suggests, is another metallurgical coal company. The company's mainly focused on met coal mines in Alabama and southern Appalachia. whereas AMR is more focused on Appalachia and part of the East Coast of the US. The stock is trading just above its tangible book and gram numbers, and it's below its Peter Lynch value and way below its projected free cash flows, again because of some of that high recent pricing in met coal. Things have really swung all over the place for this company and amid the commodity pricing in coal. Because of this, their GF value only comes in at $40 a share, but it looks like there's some projected increases into the future for the business, with this climbing, as projected, up to $61 a share by 2027. Warrior Met also pays out a small 0.67% dividend yield. Now, the top stock in Pabrai's portfolio doesn't show up in his US listed holdings. This is because it's his biggest position overseas in Turkey. This is Resos Logistics. Resos is the $780 million leading warehouse and logistics operator in Turkey. Pabrai bought into this company when its market cap was under $20 million, so he's almost 40x'd his money so far.
Let's watch it. And I remember we were driving to a business he was taking me to, where he said, Mohnish, the market cap is $20 million and the liquidation value is like 800 million. So I said, fraud hai kya? In English, I told either it is a fraud. He said, no, I have an investment in it, as far as I can tell. So basically, he said, there's no fraud. And he said, it's really simple. They have 12 million square feet of warehouses. They're 99% leased. You can very easily get a value on those. It's about $80 a square foot on average. So you have about $1 billion value of these warehouses. And there's 200 million of debt. And there's 800 million. And these are all leased to Amazon, IKEA, Carrefour, 99% leased, inflation index leases or dollar leases. And there's nothing there. So I went, and the father and son that run the business, I met them. I liked them. I thought they were really smart business people. And then I spent the afternoon visiting the warehouses, and they looked great. And I really couldn't find anything wrong with the company. I started buying the shares, and I was surprised. For $7 million, I got 1/3 of the company.
He loves this company for 3 reasons. It has great assets in prime locations in Turkey. It also has great management run by a father and son duo of the people who founded the company. Thirdly, they have inflation index contracts which give them recurring revenue with large blue chip customers like Amazon internationally. And as a bonus, most of their expenses are in Turkish lira, but their revenues are coming in euros and US dollars. That gives a huge edge in inflation rampant Turkey.
And the second thing, what I noticed about this father-son that run this business is that they didn't just have the warehouse business. They also have the largest freight train network in Turkey. So in Turkey, the rail cars are private, and you can run freight business and so on. They have the largest truck fleet in Turkey. They have 2,000 trucks. They have a huge forklift rental business. They have a vehicle inspection business. Every car has to go inspections every 2 years. And that's like you get sanctioned by the government and so on. So they're like 4 or 5 businesses. Each one has very favorable economics. And each one is a high quality business. And so their model is that if they don't get their money back in 2 to 3 years in dollars, they have no interest in investing. So I found that unlike a lot of entrepreneurs and business managers, the father never went to college, but he just understands that if I put $1 out, he wants to know ye dollar kitne der mein mujhko wapas aa raha hai. And if it's not coming back in 3 years, he's not interested. So he doesn't understand IRR. He doesn't understand return on equity. He doesn't understand any of those terms. He just understands this particular fact, which your grandfather understood.
Yeah.
You know, he just understood the fact that I put money out and what comes back, and that's what matters.
The stock's returned insane numbers, being up 4,600% in the last 5 years alone. Again, in Turkish lira, but there's an increase in dollar value as well. The company's fundamentals and cash flows don't fully reflect that valuation. However, according to Pabrai, there's a number of assets listed on their balance sheet that the replacement value would be multiples of today. Because the stock is in Turkey and it's not that covered, right now their GF value is only 8 Turkish lira a share, which is down nearly half from their current stock price. Although there's a lot of growth being projected in their future.
So when we invested in 2019, the company was worth about 700-800 million. At least it's probably worth more, but that's the amount I could figure out. I think the value now maybe about $1.5 billion. It could be more. And the The stock that was a 20 million market cap is now like 350, 400 million. So it's moved, this is in dollars. The lira has collapsed in the meanwhile.
Right.
And even with the collapse of lira in dollars, we're up a lot. But even at the 350, 400 million, it's very undervalued. And the thing is that abhi वो कहते हैं ना हींग लगे ना फटकरी रंग चौका. So basically, what do I have to do?
Yeah.
I have to be in Austin just reading whatever I want to read. Okay. Do I have control? No. Do I care about control? No. Do I want to be on the board? No. All those things mean I have to do work. My job is to just cheer them on. I go meet them once a year. I talk to them every few months. And they are very smart about how they invest. I've never seen them make a mistake. They're very creative. What I was telling you guys about the creativity, they have extreme creativity of entering new business, but they make it extremely tiny bets. So they'll see some opportunity. They'll actually go in where they don't have competence, put $500,000, $1 million, whatever, and they see what happens. If it works, then they just press on the accelerator and they go. And if it doesn't work, they back off and then try something else. So basically, abhi, with this business, if it went to $1 billion market cap today, we're not selling. If it's gone to 5 billion, we're not selling. Because basically, if someone is reinvesting capital, 25, 35% return, and this father-son duo pretty smart about doing it, I need to leave them alone for 20 years. So what difference does it make whether I'm the founder of the business or manager of the business or a passive investor? The best position is a passive investor. Kuch kaam karne ki zarurat nahi, right? And your grandfather worked very hard. Your uncles worked very hard. Everyone worked very hard. I just not that hard working, So I think that there are, because of the auction-driven nature of markets, something like this resas in Turkey will show up once in a lifetime. But you only need one. You don't need 10. But there are plenty of them that show up, which will give you a 10x, give you a 20x. Resas might give us 300-400. Eventually, by the time we're done, it might be several hundred times the return. And all we got to do is be a cheerleader, nothing else. And life is good.
So if you found Mohnish Pabrai's portfolio insights valuable, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into top investors. Drop a comment with your favorite pick from his holdings or one you think I'm missing. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.